What's up, guys? Big Guy Bets back at it again with another video. I told you guys that I would be doing a breakdown of the college baseball bracket for 2025, guys, and this is what it is, okay? So the college baseball king kind of taking you through this. I will admit right now, guys, I am very, very hot right now, meaning like angry, not like looking, even though I don't mind the looks most of the time, but I just am not really enjoying what I saw from the committee. I'm actually very upset with the committee. What we're seeing, guys, is honestly just a bad product of college baseball. I think that they're really trying to push a narrative that is just trying to get any other teams, rather than the main core in there. And so I'm just super upset for some of the teams that, played really well this year and just got fucked realistically. So let's kind of get into it a little bit, guys. As you can see, when you guys, I kind of talked about this before, but the left side of the bracket here, once you go ahead and move through regionals and then super regionals, you get put in this little pool here, okay? Same with the right side. Once you move through regionals and supers, you get put in this little pool here, okay? So all these teams on this side, guys, one of these teams from this side here will be playing for the national championship, and one of the teams from this side is going to be playing for a national championship. And one thing I want you guys to note, not going to take anything from Vandy. I've talked about it before. They're death by 1,000 cuts, but they are not the #1 team in the country, in my opinion. I think that they're a fraudulent one. Yes, they've played really well as of late, but we'll get back to them in a second. But when you go ahead and look at the betting odds, guys, and who the Vegas believes is going to be the national champion, okay? I had to take a screenshot of this because it wasn't pulling up originally. But you look here, you have Arkansas, LSU, Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, okay? Those are the top 5 teams to win the national championship. And this is why I'm kind of angry, guys, and you'll be able to see that, okay? It's not going to keep pulling while I do this. So just keep that in mind. Texas is on this side, Georgia on this side, LSU on this side, Tennessee on this side, and Arkansas on this side. And again, I'll bring this up one more time. The top 5 teams that Vegas believes is going to win the national championship is all on one fucking side of the bracket. That is extremely aggravating, okay? You know why? Because we're going to get, and not saying that this is a bad thing at all, but when you see the 5th and the 6th, or 6th and the 7th ranked teams all on the other side of the bracket, guys, it is just annoying because you want to have the best championship game possible. I don't want, a really bad national championship where it feels like it's really lopsided. And honestly, truthfully, that is how it's going to be, because I'm going to be honest, I don't think that some of these teams, at the top will win or could win, but it's still the narrative, I guess is the best way to say it. You don't want to see these teams play each other before the championship. You kind of get into a situation where, a couple of years ago, it wasn't as bad, but LSU and Florida played each other in the national championship game. LSU beat the shit out of them game 1, Florida beat the shit out of them game 2, and then LSU beat the shit out of them game 3. I just don't want to see that. I don't think it's a good product. They were 2 very good teams that were really fun to watch, but just not the greatest product. We actually got the greatest semifinal matchup in history, Rhett Lauder versus Paul Skeens, in a matchup that I'll remember for the rest of my life. But that would have been a lot cooler if it was on the biggest stage in the championship game, and I believe that that's probably what they're going to be looking at here, guys. So again, and I think the team that got hosed the most is the betting favorite, the Arkansas Razorbacks, a team that now I can proudly say is my favorite team. I've kind of grown to really love this fan base. I've grown to love every tradition. So I do love the Razorbacks. They are my new favorite college baseball team. It kind of happened about 2 years ago when I first went to Omaha. Really enjoyed all those fans and my first experience there, and I've loved them ever since. So definitely biased towards the Hogs there. But you look at their matchups, guys. They're facing obviously a champion here, but then 2 40-plus win teams. I don't care who you played or your strength of schedule, guys. 40 wins is a very impressive feat for the year. They're the only regional that has 2 other plus 40 win teams. And then, okay, yeah, you win your regional in Fayetteville. You know what you get? You get the ex-old champion Tennessee Vols, as long as they make it through their dusty regional, which they easily should. They make it through their regional, guys, which I'm going to be rooting for any which one of these teams to be able to face Arkansas. I do not want to see the Volunteers in that super regional, but if the Volunteers make it through, you see Arkansas versus Tennessee round 2. Okay, basically what I'm saying round two is the very last week of the season, these two teams played each other, and apparently NCAA wants to repeat that, okay? As the number 3 overall seed, they're getting screwed and facing the number 3 ranked team, or I guess in terms of Vegas, betting on favorite to win the championship, and that is even before Omaha. Just get completely screwed. I feel bad for all Arkansas Razorbacks fans. I just feel bad for baseball fans in general that you're going to be getting the 2 top teams in a super regional before you even get to Omaha. I don't think that that's very fair. I think that Arkansas was better off just losing more games so that they could be on this left side of the bracket against teams that just have no business being in a tournament title hope. So again, feel really bad for all of them. I mean, that's just a horrible, horrible seeding arrangement there. I think that the number 3 overall team should be playing teams like Clemson. I don't think that Clemson deserves to be a higher ranked seed than Tennessee in any stretch of the imagination. You look at this Tennessee Vols lineup, they're playing well at the right time. They have 2 future first round pick pitchers in their rotation, and then they have 2 guys at the top of their lineup that are going to be playing professional baseball one day. You can't say the same about Clemson, guys. It's just beyond me how bad that is. And then you kind of look at how LSU kind of got a very, very easy road here, guys. I mean, I'm going to be honest, none of these teams deserve to play. I mean, LSU's going to have a cakewalk there. That plus 500, not the greatest line in the world, but I think that they're not going to sweat at all in these regionals here. This is a regional that I'm very excited to be watching from a outsider's perspective, and this is mainly because I think Georgia Tech has a really decent pitching staff at the end of the day, but I really like being able to see them in Oxford where the ball travels pretty far there. I like to watch that offense, see what they can do against an Ole Miss team. And this specific matchup, guys, is going to be an interesting matchup because it's a team that pitches really well versus a team that hits really well. So I really do like this matchup. Looking forward to it as well. I think that Georgia got a pretty easy draw in their regional. And then I guess we will see when I kind of break it down a little bit further. But I do also, this regional here, guys, I'm going to be quite honest. Texas, it will wipe the floor with every single one of these teams. I don't care who comes out of here. Tennessee or Texas has probably the easiest road to get to Omaha I've honestly ever seen, besides any of the teams on the left side here. But the number 2 overall seed honestly got the easiest route, even besides the number 1 team. So we'll kind of go over to that other side real fast, guys. Vandy has Wright State, Louisville, and ETSU. This ETSU team I really do like. They pitch pretty well, but they also mash the home run ball. In this series specifically, guys, it's not that the ball travels very well in Vandy, but Vandy, known for their pitching staff this year, like I've talked about just a couple minutes ago, Vandy, death by 1,000 cuts, guys. They just do all the right things. They beat you by playing small ball, and it's really frustrating for other teams that they're facing against. So do I believe that they'll probably get through their regional? Yeah, but I really do like this ETSU team, and they're worth a small little look. This regional right here, guys, I think that Alabama does have a pretty easy draw facing a team like Miami that is just brutal. Watching them play baseball the last few weeks has been horrible. I don't know how they made it into the tournament, quite frankly, but Southern Miss, a team that's been really good this year, really impressive. But if I were to look at anything in this, I'd really like Alabama's draw in order to get to supers. I've seen Alabama in this role before a couple years back when they did. They were the 16th overall seed and they went to Wake Forest and just played a buzzsaw on that. But a similar role for them. And I think that in this regional they did get a good draw, so definitely worth a look there. And this one I think is the most upsetting, just because looking at all of these teams here, guys, I'm not saying anything about Northeastern and what they've done this year has been very impressive, and I really hope to see them continue to do it because the underdog story is really fun. But looking at just these pure 8 teams and how they've encompassed the entire year and how they've looked the entire year, I don't believe any one of these 8 teams should be able to get the chance to go to Omaha, in my opinion, but someone does have to out of those 4. I think Oregon State it's a weird draw, but it's a decent draw for them. I don't believe they've done anything to really warrant getting an easier draw, but This TCU team is just hard to kind of predict. Beating anyone in Corvallis is really tough too. But I'm probably going to be looking in one of these three teams as a possible look into Omaha. But overall, amongst those 8 teams, it's really a bummer that I have to look at some of these teams over here. Like I really wanted to probably see a Georgia Tech run, but their route there is not the easiest. But if team gets hot at the right time, you'll really like it. So I also believe that UNC got a tough little draw here, guys. I like this Holy Cross team. They also hit really well. Was really impressed with them when they faced I believe it was Wake Forest in a midweek game. Super impressive. But overall, this regional, I just feel like UNC, they're playing their best baseball right now, and they kind of got hosed. And I say this because I think Oklahoma could get by with starting one of their lesser pitchers against Nebraska. Not saying Nebraska is not a good team, but they did just come off one of the more hype postseason runs in Omaha. Now they're going to be on the road traveling. I don't think that they're necessarily a team that is very good. At the end of the day, they did get hot, but I think that crowd really riled them to a victory in the Big Ten. And honestly, playing the Big Ten competition this year, guys, it truly is not very impressive. So I think that Oklahoma got a pretty decent draw there. If they maybe throw one of their lesser arms in game 1 and can win, I like that their opportunity against UNC in game 2, if they can save Kyson Witherspoon for that second game. Do they do that? I don't know. You kind of have to play to win that first game to get to the next day, but maybe they could get ahead with playing somebody that maybe was not as impressive. And then in this regional, guys, honestly, Cal Poly playing very well right now. Arizona also playing well. That matchup, I'm really kind of upset because I wanted to see Cal Poly against someone else because I really did want to see them in an opportunity where I think that they could really exceed and go to this go to Omaha at least. But Arizona's playing good baseball right now. I think they've found their pitching staff or who they're going to be starting moving forward. And Oregon, after Grayson Grinzel, I don't really like their pitching staff. And again, they played in the Big Ten. I don't think that they've played the best competition. I don't think that the Big 12 is any better, but this Arizona team is experienced. This same team hosted a regional last year, got beat by a DBU team, and then also I believe Virginia was in that regional. I would who was it? It was DBU and someone else, and they just didn't. Oh, West Virginia, that's who it was. And honestly, just a tough draw for the Cats. But this year, I think that this team's playing well right now. This is a very good draw for them to be able to make a little bit of noise in a regional. So watch out for the Cats. And then this last little pod here, guys, Coastal Carolina, Fairfield, and Florida and East Carolina. Have not watched a lot of Fairfield, so can't really talk much on them. Coastal is the second team in the entire country with the largest win streak. So they've been obviously impressive in the Fun Belt. Competition there is not too bad, but it's nothing like what Florida has to see every week. And East Carolina, honestly, just got hot at the right time. I think that they'll run into a Florida team that is much better than them, but I think Florida honestly gets a good draw here, guys. I think that one thing that Coastal does well is pitch really well, but I think that when you see a Florida team that has seen those type of arms all year, I think that Florida could kind of do what they did last year and what they do every year. They just kind of sneak their way through. I feel like they always get a relatively decent draw. Last year they got Clemson in Supers, and I think that they're playing good enough baseball to kind of get them to go through this regional. It's a Florida team that has a really deep bullpen, and if they can just get a little bit healthier, I think that they could do some serious damage. In this one right here, guys, Auburn and Central Connecticut, I'm going to assume is who they are. NC State and Stetson. You look at this regional and you wonder, like, this 4 seed, how the hell did they get a better, seeding or a better draw than Arkansas? I mean, you kind of look here, it was honestly better if Arkansas ended up on this side with all these easier teams. Again, I'm just going to keep complaining about it, but you kind of look and go, well, if I was Arkansas, I'd rather be the 4 seed. I mean, seeing teams like Stetson, NC State team that's not really played to their potential this year, and Arkansas has played, 2 different champions here, and then they have 2 different 40-win teams, and then they're playing teams like Stetson and NC State in this one, and once they win, they could face a Florida team or a Coastal team. Well, would you rather face a Florida or Coastal, or would you rather face Tennessee Vols, a team that has more talent than any other team in the country? So I believe that Auburn got a very favorable draw. But Auburn, one thing I want to note with them, they are a younger team. They are not as they're not as experienced. They do have a couple bats in their lineup that are pretty experienced, but I believe that this pitching staff just cannot get it done, guys. I don't think that the pitching staff will have what it takes to kind of get to Omaha. I don't think that they slip up in the regional, but whoever comes out of this one, I believe, is probably going to be the one that ends up going to Omaha. So it's unfortunate for the Auburn Tigers, but I think that they're going to be a really fun team, and they could be the #1 team overall in the NCAA next year, because they're going to, obviously, I would hope that they bring a lot of their talent back, their starting freshmen back, and I think it's an opportunity for them to really take advantage of a really experienced lineup next year. I don't think this is their year, though, but that's kind of going over the first little bit, guys. I just kind of wanted to go over what I thought right initially. Again, when you're looking at futures, though, I'll pull these futures up one more time. I will make them a little bit, come on. I'll make them a little bit smaller here just so that we can kind of go over it a little bit more, but I guess the best way to say it without giving up anything that I know I kind of went over the board a little bit, but without giving up anything, I would, if I were a betting guy, which I obviously am, I would be looking at a lot of these teams over here in order to maybe middle your money at the end. I think the national champion probably does come from this side. But the gauntlet, it's pretty tough, guys. So you're getting through this entire gauntlet on this right side could maybe make them stronger, whoever it is, or it could, beat them down, because they're going to have to use arms. They're going to have to use a lot. I think whoever ends up coming out of this left side has a really good opportunity to sneak a title without really trying. So, when you kind of look over here, the best thing that I can tell you guys is whoever you like on this side of the bracket, I would advise you to take them, whatever they are, on the to win it all, because if you can just get them to the championship, you can middle your money and hedge your way out. So whether that's taking the other team for however much you ended up putting on it, but when you're looking at this side of the bracket, the worst team on this side of the bracket in terms of odds wise, you got Vandy at 15-1, at least in terms of the Bovada Sportsbook, and then you got North Carolina at 10-1. So you put down your full unit or half unit or whatever you do on there, and then you can just kind of put a quarter. If you do a half unit, you can put a quarter on the other team once they make it in, hopefully in your case. But I guess the best way to say it is, yeah, take one of these teams over here that you really do like, because I truly believe that whoever you like coming from this side is most likely, if you're a smart enough person to figure out who it is going to end up being, you can hedge your way out. So that right side is just a gauntlet. I have been seeing all over Twitter, and I've kind of looked, I guess X, but I've tried to look at some of the, even the D1 baseball guys, the guys that do this all the time, and not too many people are talking about how hard this gauntlet is, to be honest with you. Everyone's kind of trying to find too many different values over here, but you have to look at the big picture. It's hard not to. And you got to really look and see, well, all these teams on this side, they're going to have to beat each other up in order to get to, a national title. There is a opportunity, there is a chance that there is an Arkansas, LSU, Georgia, and Texas all in an all SEC bottom side of the bracket, where you might only have one or two in the top side, but you could realistically end up with a bottom half of the bracket where there's a significant difference. Like I said, you could end up realistically at either some sort of combination of Arkansas, LSU, Texas, Georgia, or you could see a Tennessee, LSU, Texas, Georgia, all in the bottom side of this bracket. Just absolutely crazy. I don't know what the committee was thinking. I don't think they were thinking, clearly, because that's not going to make for the greatest views in terms of a championship game, but I guess the views will be crazy in the semifinals and quarterfinals. So that's kind of me going over the first little bit, guys. If you guys are interested and you want to see kind of how this postseason works, I still do have a couple opportunities on my college baseball pass. It is 90% off because the season is almost over. So go ahead, use code postseason on my college baseball pass on Winnable here, guys. We have a good opportunity to make a lot of money on these futures. I will be posting quite a few into my VIP chat once the numbers come out. I have a couple spots that I already love. I will dig a little bit deeper on some of these spots. Maybe I don't know as much or need to look at a little closer, but it's an amazing time to be with me, guys. I already have 2 pending futures that I had at the very beginning of the year. Some of you could have figured it out without me saying it, or some of you guys might not, but I do have a couple pending already, and I will be putting one more future down on a College World Series winner now that I have seen how the bracket is laid out and seen how some of these teams got a good draw and some of them didn't. So without further ado, guys, again, winnable.com/BGS bets, code postseason on my college baseball pass. And until then, guys, until Thursday or Friday, don't know when the games are specifically going to start yet. They haven't came out, but we will have a free pick video then. Appreciate you all. Love you all. Best of luck. Peace.